All right, we are live with Bottleneck. My name is Jamie J. I'm the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Virtual Assistants, and this is
Sarah,
my lovely wife. And we are excited to be talking to Kristen and Kristen Deese because they wrote this book, and it really resonated with us. And we're going to be talking about the book and a lot more of how we get together. So if you are a married entrepreneurial couple or married working in the same business, you may have a desire to tune in today. It's going to be pretty special. So we will be back in, I think, 38 seconds. Well, hello. Welcome to Live with Bottleneck. My name is Jamie J. I am the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Virtual Assistants, and this is my lovely wife, Sarah.
hi.
What do you do with Bottleneck?
I do all the payroll and the number crunching and make sure we can pay the bills and plan for our future.
Keep me in order. But we're not here to talk about bottleneck today. What we are here for is how to help you stop the bottleneck in your business. If you've seen any of our previous episodes, we are super stoked to have the high quality content that we have on here and the high quality individuals and guests that we bring on board, because what they do can effectively help stop the bottleneck in your business. And that bottleneck could very well be you. It very well could be the communication. It could be the relationship. And specifically, the reason why I have Sarah on today, I asked her to be on today, is because of our wonderful guests. We have entrepreneurial couple, Kristen and Kristen Deese, and we're going to be talking about how to have a successful business and a happy marriage. They're the authors of When Your Business Partner is Your Spouse. And why are they in a position to help you stop the bottleneck? Let me kind of talk about them in a little bit of a bio. Kristen Deese is a business coach and certified behavioral consultant who helps businesses grow by strengthening the behind-the-scenes framework and communication strategies within the organization. All too often, business owners are investing countless hours of their business but can't quite seem to reap the rewards they imagined when dreaming of owning their own business in the first place. She uses her certified behavior consultant training as a superpower in showing her clients why they do the things they do, which is amazingly helpful when working with married business partners. And Kristen is a business strategist, visionary, and self-made entrepreneur. He simultaneously built 3 flourishing in-home service companies in multiple states and is an expert at helping fellow business owners structure and manage their companies for maximum profitability. Kristen has extensive working knowledge regarding all aspects of operating a successful business and has helped numerous business owners revitalize their companies. Kristen's personal motto is measure, motivate, and manage. He is driven to help others build thriving businesses and uses his extensive business knowledge to help married business owners achieve incomparable levels of success and profitability. And one of the things I really want to touch on and the importance of this that we will definitely go on to or into about this is that I think I met Kristen the first time. Man, it might have been 2 years ago. We'll find that out here in a little bit, but it's all about communication and understanding each other. So one thing that I think happened in our relationship was we found a deeper, more meaningful relationship by working with each other. So we've tested each other, but we've also enjoyed the successes. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce you to Kristen and Kristen Deese. Hello.
Jamie, Sarah, how are you doing?
You're fantastic. How are you?
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, we're so excited to talk with you. And at first I was going to do it by myself. And then I said, no, I got to bring Sarah in on this thing. And I do forgive us because we do have a green screen. You guys are popping. You look unbelievable because you just have a beautiful, clean house. It's amazing. That one day I would hope that we can get our house that clean. But right here is the reason we're talking. When your business partner is your spouse, how to have a successful business and a happy marriage. We have a very happy business, or very happy marriage. Our business is challenging at times, but we cannot wait to talk to you to learn more about it. And thought maybe before we get into that, you could kind of introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so we started working together about 20 years ago. And for us, it was really by default. So, and I talk about this in the book, how my entrepreneurial journey started, which was I was working for a company and they laid off like an entire division. And I was probably 19 at the time. And I didn't really know what to do. And so I thought, well, I just want to go start my own business and not have to work for anybody anymore. And that was pretty much the catalyst that started us on the journey of starting businesses. And I quickly got into it and realized I had no idea what I was doing. Like I could sell and I could sell services, but then, okay, well, now you have money. Now what do you do with it? And so by default, I eventually suckered. I mean,
I totally got sucked in a couple years later.
Well, how about you, Kristen?
I do a lot of the, just like in the bio, a lot of the behind the scenes structuring of the businesses. And I work with business owners to do the same thing. So many times, especially in the home services industry, we see technicians who are really, really awesome technicians. And so they go out and they start their own business and they realize that there's a whole lot that they didn't bargain for that they just don't know how to do. And so I really enjoy helping those companies, get their vision squared away and get their organizational charts squared away and get all their things systematized so that they can have that consistent result and they can grow the way that they wanted to grow.
Oh, so, that's fantastic.
So currently, we do still own some home service businesses, and we get to spend most of our time coaching and helping other business owners get that level of success.
That's fantastic. Now, do you work in a specific niche?
Typically, what we work in is home service. So really, any type of business where you have a technician that goes to a home is really where we specialize.
Perfect. Well, I did want to jump on really fast. If anybody has any questions or anything like that, please ask away. We have Stephen Christopher said that Jamie J, what's up? Justin and Kristen, hey, killer book by two awesome people.
Steven,
so anytime any questions pop up, I understand it's a little challenging or maybe a little scary to maybe ask a question. There are no dumb questions. If you just want to make a comment, anything we can do. Now, if you're watching this in a replay, just know that I will make sure to get the question to Kristen and Justin and have them answer it or have them reach out to you directly. So any questions, comments, anything, ask away, no matter if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, anywhere in the social media world. We'd love to have your questions. So thank you again. And thank you, Stephen, for answering that question. So my first question to you two is, what motivated you to write the book? First question. And the second question is, how in the heck did you finish it?
Okay, that's a good question.
Okay, so what motivated us to write it in the first place is that we've been working together for a long time. And when we talk to other people about it, the main question we get asked is, how do you make it work working with your spouse? Not how do you make your business better? How did you grow your business? It's not that. It's how in the world do you work with each other and still like each other at the end of the day? So that's kind of when we figured out that we might be onto something. And then as far as completing the book, we got the majority of it done in like 6 months. And then it took almost 2 years to finish the last 10%.
Oh, that's any project,
yeah.
Right? That's any project. Yeah, really, when we first started it, it was almost, I don't want to say a joke, but it was, people kept, that was it. That was all they would ask us. at the time when we started writing it, we owned multiple self-managing businesses, and people weren't asking us about that. They're like, how in the world do you guys do this and actually appear to kind of like each other? Like, how does that work? And so, yeah, that was really the driving force behind it.
Doug Myers popped in really quick and said, "This is great information. Is your field probably?" Yeah. So some of the things we have challenges with, and I did read in the beginning of that you both took assessments, and Kristen, you scored 99 out of 100 on what was it?
On the introversion scale,
yeah, on the introversion scale. And I imagine, Justin, you're probably flip-flopped. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
That is a fair assessment, yes.
Is that a fair assessment of the assessment?
Fair assessment is
well, I think we're kind of the same way.
Yeah.
She's detailed and she, like, I'll talk and she goes, "Jamie, you need to be quiet and just ask a question." Or I'll write an article or an answer to a question and she goes, "Jamie, you can write this in like 2 sentences." And she's right. She's right. I don't know what it is. Do you guys find yourself kind of leveling each other out in that way?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the biggest struggles that we had at the beginning, I think most married couples do, is appreciating the differences, right? And so when you have your lane, figuring out what it is and just owning that versus trying to be really good at something that you're not really good at. And Kristen's way more detail oriented than I am, but I'm also more of the let's move, keep things going, keep progress going. And at the beginning, we didn't have lanes, we didn't have communication, we didn't have really any of that stuff. So yeah, all those are very important, but working together in the complementing areas is a challenge, and one that once we figured out, we saw a quick difference in our business.
That's amazing. So you said when you first started out, you didn't have lanes. You didn't kind of know what roles and responsibilities were. What led you to define those lanes? Or I should ask, first of all, do you have lanes now?
Yes, definitely. We definitely have lanes now. And really, we structured them so that I was working in my area of genius and he works in his area of genius. And if there's something that neither one of us can cover, then we'll outsource it to somebody else who's really good at whatever that is. And that just makes everybody happier all the way around. If I can spend my time doing the things that I love to do in the business and he can spend the time doing the things that he loves to do, then we're both happier, which is good for the business and the marriage. So
that's awesome. So I think I know the answer to this, but who does the sales in the business? It's the same thing. It would be funny because sometimes I'll ask her, I say, "Do you want to hop on this?" Nope. No, I don't want to do that. But she's very content in helping us out. And to be honest with you, I took assessments. We both taken assessments, and I retook it because I didn't believe the results, and they came back the same results. And I'm terrible with follow-up, and I'm not very good with detail. And she's pretty good with both of those. And I think we're really, really back each other up on that one. What would you say are the greatest attributes of the other?
Oh,
and Justin, you can go first.
So when we made this shift from owning home service businesses to really starting to focus on the coaching and training side, for me, it was natural because I'm not an introvert. So I'm like, let's go meet people. Let's whatever. Kristen, obviously being the introvert and being detail oriented, it was really cool to watch her get outside of her comfort zone and start speaking in front of big crowd. I mean, in the last probably 18 months, you've probably done 12 to 18 talks live. And that was such a big thing for you to kind of overcome that. And that's cool, is that you're willing to really push that boundary when you need to. And I know a lot of people don't. They don't want to do the uncomfortable things in order to be successful. And yes, as much as you want to stay in your lane of genius, there is times where you have to do things in order to be able to stay in your area of genius.
Well, and for that specific example of speaking in front of people, I actually enjoy doing it. And I never would have known that I enjoyed it if I didn't step out of the comfort zone and step out of the box and try it. So, introverts are not that they don't like people. It's just that interactions with large groups of people drains the energy of an introvert, where it fuels the energy of an extrovert. And so that doesn't mean that introverts aren't capable of having extroverted characteristics. It just means that we need a little downtime after we're done.
A little recharge time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a hard time going at big social gatherings, but if we start talking about business, I could really start going, and I have fun doing it. But if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't go to the events. Like, I'm deathly afraid of that. I spoke at a little thing in Florida. What a nightmare. I mean, I got up there and I forgot what I was talking about. And I said, whoo, I started sweating. I'm like, is it hot in here? And I mean, it was bad. It was bad. And I said, never again. But then we can hop on something like this. It's no problem. And I just appreciate you guys going out of your comfort zone. And I think if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Yeah. In my opinion. And so, that's one of the biggest things. And then one of the other things I wanted to ask you guys, I'm really curious about is maybe you're talking with a couple and they're not seeing eye to eye. How do I put this politely? Well, maybe they're just yelling at each other. Yeah. They don't like what each other's doing. What are some of the things that you can recommend for them to kind of do to overcome those hurdles, those challenges, and when and at what point do you say, you know what, you probably don't need to be working together?
No.
Has that ever happened?
Actually, we haven't run into that. I haven't run into thinking that a couple shouldn't be working together, because usually by the time they get to us, they've already figured out that they shouldn't be working together. You might have a different experience. Yeah. I know for me with coaching, whether I'm coaching some just a single business owner or a married business partners, I think that a lot of my job has to do with helping them see their business and their marriage from a different perspective. When you're a business owner and you are in the weeds, or you're overwhelmed, or there's a whole lot of things going on that you feel like are out of your control, it's hard to see the forest through the trees. And I think it's my job to pull you out of that and get you to look at your business from a different perspective, from a higher view, so that you can kind of see the bigger picture. And so we do that with the relationships too, where you have a husband and wife who don't seem to be seeing eye to eye on something. It's what we can do to help them change their perspective, seek to understand before being understood. Yep. Just the whole concept of we're not trying to figure out who's right or who's wrong. Let's just see if we can understand why the other person is feeling the way that they're feeling.
And normally when those type of things happen, it really just comes down to communication. It really comes down to a lot of times they're not that far off from what each one wants. It's just, if everybody's yelling, nobody's listening. So that's part of the problem. Is if you'll just kind of listen for a second, a lot of times when you have the spouses that are working together in a business, they have the same goal for the most part. So,
yeah. I think you said that the other day. You said you were having a hard time seeing the forest through the trees or something like that.
Yeah, I get stuck, and I get like blinders on, and I have a hard time, and I need to step back. And Jamie literally comes in and he can see I'm frustrated. He's like, he just has a question. I'm like, I don't have time for that. I'm just like, bark at him. He says, well, maybe you should step away and just go outside for a few minutes. And it works great. I go outside, I refocus, and then I come in, and then I can I can see the big picture. But you start looking at the details, and sometimes you can get so caught up on one that you lose that different perspective.
I think a lot of times when we work with couples too, having them take a disc analysis is pretty important, just because when you do take the disc analysis and you start to understand really the other person, I think it really helps a lot, so that you don't go after them. Like for me, I can talk about business, Jamie, like you, 24/7. 24/7 because I love it. I'm like, oh, look at that. You said something the other day. You walked in and I was reading something. I popped up and said something. You go, you just told me half of the other half of that conversation was in your brain. So
you just spouted off with a handful of words that made no sense. And I was like, okay, you have to in on whatever you were talking about in your head before you said that out loud.
But again, a lot of that's because we understand each other well enough to know how we each communicate. And that's, I mean, and that has taken work, but it's also the awareness of using some tools that are out there so that you better understand your partner. Because it's easy to get frustrated. Like for me, I could have gotten frustrated, like, are you ignoring me? Or are you not listening to me or whatever? And really, you knew with 3 words that I had ting ting. It was like a pennies in a Coke can going on in my brain. And you knew to stop and say, hey, give me the whole thought.
Yeah, that's exciting because I really like the dynamic. I love this woman. She means the entire world to me, and I'm so blessed that we're able to work from home, and earn a living and help other people out, and it's just so much fun. And I wish so many more couples could experience this type of thing that you two obviously have. And it was funny because in reading your book, so many things I'm like, yeah, so it's really neat that you put that out there, because I think a lot more people need to be exposed to that. A lot more couples need to be exposed to that. At what point during the journey is a good time to say, okay, Kristen, okay, Justin, yeah, we need a little support here?
Honestly, ironically enough, if you notice that you are becoming the bottleneck in your business, that's a great time to reach out for help. If you are overwhelmed or you're not enjoying your business or working with your business partner, that's usually a good sign to reach out for help. There's also that, I'm right on the edge of wanting to grow, but I'm not quite sure how to do that. Is a good time to reach out.
So I just had a conversation with a potential client, now client, the other day, who was asking me about if they were ready for coaching, right? So, and sometimes that's the question is, am I ready for a coach? And I asked him, I said, when you're in T-ball, because I knew you played baseball, like when you're in T-ball, do you have a coach? He's like, yeah, okay, well, you get to the major leagues, you have a coach. So if you're running a business, you pretty much need a coach. Now, the level of coach and what they're coaching you at T-ball versus the minor leagues or big leagues is different, but you always want that person in your life that's helping you not only push and drive you, but really kind of help you steer in the direction that you want to steer and hold you accountable.
Well, I like that. That's a really good one. Because that's a challenge. It's a challenge for us too. People ask us, do we need an assistant? Are we ready to hire somebody? Well, where are you? Are you running late to, there's questions you can ask, but yeah, there's always a time that you can do that. But if affording that is a big deal. But Sarah had a question for you.
I do. So Kristen, it was separate from business. We're at home. We so want our spouses to read our minds, right? Didn't you see that to pick up? How could you miss that? Kitchen's clean. Really? We see it with a different perspective. So how do you balance that with, because in business you have definite boundaries, you guys know how to communicate. How do you bring that over to after hours when you're just at home and there's completely different responsibilities?
So number one, my idea of clean is different than hers. I just found
that is true. Our definition of clean is different as well. It goes back again to the disc and understanding his communication style, and that he in fact cannot read my mind. And he would prefer me to just say, hey, I need you to do XYZ, or hey, I need you to wash these dishes, or whatever, as opposed to just assuming. Because if I assume that he knows what needs to be done, then I get frustrated because he doesn't see what I see, and he gets frustrated because I'm frustrated with him, and it's just this whole thing. So I know that on
vicious cycle.
Yeah, with his specific personality type, I just need to say it, and then we can both move on.
Yeah. We're going to get down here. You're coming to wash the dishes now.
I'm very grateful. He doesn't do things to my standards, and I'm sure I don't do what he wants done to his standards, but I'm just grateful that he even tries. I make a list on the chalkboard, and He's like, oh, is that for me? And I almost feel guilty putting it up there.
It's good. I'm in grade school when it comes to that, so that's good. And I will let you know that everything I ask her to do exceeds my standards. So, yeah. So, a question I have for you is, what is the best way for someone to get in touch with you? And then I have one follow-up question to that as we're approaching the end of our half hour here. I want to respect your time, but what's the best way for people to get in touch with you to, have a chat?
You can always reach out to us on our website at businessspouse.com. We're on Facebook at Business Spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And our email addresses are our first names separately, Kristen at businessspouse.com and Justin at businessspouse.com. So we're definitely out there on social media, and we are in tune with our email. So we're pretty easy to track down.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that your branding is all intact.
Yeah.
It's all ready to go. Good for you. That's a hard thing to do for most people. So I did notice that. Good job. And so if somebody is in their position, they're ready to go, what kind of advice would you have for couples out there that may be stuck right now? What's something you can leave them with that maybe they can do today? Is it a discussion? Obviously.
That's funny. I was literally reaching. We also have a community that is a community of Business Spouse. So if you're just looking for a community to connect, that's a good place to do it. Business Spouse community. It's on Facebook. That's a great place. I mean, there's good conversations that happen in there, and it kind of lets you network with other people, because sometimes when you're married to your business partner, it kind of feels isolated. Like you must be the only one. Like, I'm the only person in the world that's my business partner is my spouse. So I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah. And, besides reading the book, I think the biggest thing that I hear most business couples struggle with is having that boundary, having the boundaries, and, whether you're setting up time boundaries or physical boundaries or whatever, to be able to separate work and home is huge, because if you're not careful, the business will just take over everything. So,
yes.
I love that.
Yeah. So, how do you guys have separate offices within the house, or how does that work?
We do. We both have our own offices. They happen to be across the hall from each other. So there are times when our doors get closed or our earbuds go in so that we're not hearing the other person. And it's also, we have to really try hard not to just like blurt out whatever thought is in our head. I have to work hard at it too. And I think he might have to work a little harder than I do.
I do.
Just to kind of respect that, hey, head down working time versus, strategic time.
You're ahead of us. So we have a relatively small house, and so we have our bedroom, our daughter's bedroom, and then the office that I'm occupying, and we kind of turned in the living room / her office. And she's put like little plants around the outside. I have to knock on the wall before I can enter. Yeah. The physical space thing is a little challenging.
It is. He didn't realize how loud he talks, and he would just get on his cell phone and just wander around the house. And finally, you can't do that. You need to go away.
Oops. I don't know, Justin. Does it? For me, it helps me think when I walk. I don't know.
When I'm on the phone, I'm pacing, and part of our house, like part of the way our house is set up, is we do have our offices, but then we also have several other kind of workspaces that we did by design. So, one can be inside, outside, downstairs, out on the dock, on the boat. Like there's all these different areas where we can go work and have that strategic time. We love working together, but there's also times that we need to work separately. So
you have a dock out the back of your house with your boat.
Where are you?
That is so awesome.
We're in the panhandle of Florida, and luckily our weather here is nice enough that we can be outside almost the whole year. which gives us plenty of space to spread out,
Yeah.
even though we're working and living in the same place all the time.
Nice.
We're looking for a house in Florida right now.
We have a beautiful lake here that we have a boat on at a dock, and we
Hour away.
but and we put houses around it. It's it's all rural. There's no internet that we can work with, so we're like, we got to go away. And we want to be somewhere where it's warmer year round.
See, we want to be just like you. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we wrap?
Thank you guys for jumping on with us. That's awesome. The other thing I wanted to add is on the book, if you check out Apple or any of the podcast places, we did a 9-part series, kind of a behind the scenes of the book. A lot of people were asking us where the stories came from. And so just to kind of go a little bit deeper, we made a 9-series podcast about the book and the chapter. So check that out too.
Where would we find that?
Anywhere you get podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio.
It's titled When Your Business Partner is Your Spouse, just like the book.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I got to go check that out in podcasting. Love podcasting. Well, thank you so much for your time. If you guys, can you hold on one quick second while, and Sarah and I'll wrap up real fast? Hold on one quick second. And thank you. Hold on one quick second. All right. So what'd you think?
That was great.
That was good.
Lots of good information. And it's so comforting to know that there are people just like us.
Yeah.
And
It is nice. And I do apologize because we do have the green screen, so it kind of blows out in the background. But when your business partner is your spouse, how to have a successful business and a happy marriage with Kristen and Kristen Deese. And maybe you can even get something like this. There's signed. It's signed. So cool. So yeah, we wanted to say thank you for them. If you are a couple, entrepreneurial couple, please reach out to them. Go buy their book and reach out to them. Their book is filled with incredible real life stories when your business partners is your spouse. So definitely recommend reaching out to them. And on behalf of my beautiful wife, Sarah, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Live with Bottleneck. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap?
No, thank you, Kristen and Kristen. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Just want to say one more thing. Don't forget, make your own ripple.